Welcome, class of 2020. It is so great to see you. It's amazing to see you guys not in these little boxes on a screen and digital. You are here live and in person. This is amazing. So I want to say thank you to everybody that came out today, and we are incredibly happy that we were able to pull this off and actually gather and celebrate these amazing individuals as they complete their journey with WSSD. So today, I am Rachel Davis, and I'm always Rachel Davis, but today, I am your administrator and I am representing the Board of Trustees. So I will be doing your closing and your certifying of your graduation today. But right now, I am going to introduce Nicholas Morales, and he is going to play a piece for us before we get going. Thank you.
Thank you, Nico, for sharing that beautiful piece. Salut d'amour by Elgar. So thank you for that, Nico, for that beautiful sharing. Right now, I want to introduce somebody that's extremely special to this class. She has been a large part of their life for many of them. Some of them even had her in kindergarten. And as a class teacher, she's also been a mother in the high school, housing Cheryl when she first joined our class. So with great honor, I would like to introduce Sharina Walker.
All right, welcome, I think. All right, can you all hear me? Welcome, it's such a pleasure to be here. I'm so excited for all of you. You know, most of you know me, and Shalane did a beautiful job of introducing me, but I do see some new faces. And my name is Sharina Walker. And as Shalane said, I was some of the graduates' kindergarten teacher, and I was their 1st through 8th grade teacher. Now, I was asked to speak today about the overarching picture of this class that I carried from 1st to 8th grade. And so I thought it was only fitting to do this as a story. So, here goes. I don't have a candle, sorry, so this will have to do. Once upon a time, long, long ago, there were a group of souls looking down upon the earth, and they so wanted to come down to the earth and be together. They saw the earth was in pain. They saw that the earth needed help, and they knew that they could help. The earth needed souls to come who were brave and courageous, not afraid to speak up for change. Souls that could become activists so that they could enact the changes that were needed upon the earth to take away some of that pain. And so these souls crossed the Rainbow Bridge and came during a very troubled time on earth in 2001. They came to the earth, and they were so filled with joy and happiness and with a very strong determination. Some of them started right here at Waldorf when they were really young. Some of them 6 months old. Some of them decided to wait a little bit longer because they had other things they needed to experience first. But no matter where they began their lives, they knew that at some point they would come together again here because they had a mission, a purpose. So these children grew to be courageous, not afraid to meet one another in the truth of who they really are. They were not afraid to speak up about injustice. They were not afraid to speak their truth. They grew up brave, willing to tackle any task that was given to them. They grew up as incredibly hard workers, not just hard working, but willing to give it their all, to put every ounce of themselves into their work. They were passionate about what they did. They worked creatively and imaginatively. These children grew up compassionate and brave, not afraid to meet conflict when it came. They didn't shy away from it, but they met it head on with dignity, strength, and compassion. And they transformed themselves and their relationships. They held one another compassionately through the hard times. They found that through compassion and love, they were united and therefore stronger. So they grew. As they grew, the unity of this group became stronger. These souls also grew to serve the other. It was in their DNA. It was what they had come to do. They had come to help one another, to help their fellow human being on earth, to help the animals on the earth, to help the plants on the earth, and to help Mother Earth herself. And they did it with love and with kindness, and yet with an authority, resiliency, and strength such as had never really been seen in young people before. These children, they grew to have gratitude for the earth they lived on, for the plants that surrounded and fed them, for the animals, and for their fellow human being, no matter who they were or what they looked like. They were grateful for all of the things that grew on the earth, and they wanted to protect them. The animals, the plants, the humans. They had such a deep, deep calling, a strong passion to be the one to stand up and demand change, not just for the way people were treated, but for the way the animals, plants, and the earth were treated. And so these children grew into these incredible young men and women who are sitting here with us today. You know, it is no coincidence that they are graduating during this time, a time when once again our earth is so troubled. I saw an article recently, and the title was, "Do Not Lose Heart. We were made for these times." And I truly believe these young men and women were born for this time. Now, when I first took this class many, many years ago in first grade, but before I took the first grade, I had a mentor. Her name was Elle Scotkins. And I had the opportunity to go to dinner with her. And I asked her for some advice because I was pretty nervous. I was a kindergarten teacher, and to go into first grade where you're teaching a different grade every year was a little bit overwhelming and daunting. And so I asked her for some advice, and she said, "Yes, I have advice for you. 4 things. If you can do these 4 things, you will have taught them well." And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, okay. Let's see, reading, writing, math, science, I think I got this. But that's not what she said. She said to me, if you can teach your children to have gratitude for what they have, to say thank you for what they receive and for what comes into their lives, then you will have taught them well. She said to me, if you can teach your children to have reverence for their speech, for the words they think and speak, then you will have taught them well. If you can teach your children to serve another human being, then you will have taught them well. And if you can teach your children to look another human being in the eyes and greet them, then you have taught them well. And then she said to me, if you can teach your children these 4 things, then they will have the moral compass to be able to go out into the world and change it for the better. And I never really understood how profound those words were. I mean, I knew they were important. I mean, important enough to remember them all this time, right? But I knew they were the secret to a moral education, which is the basis of a Waldorf education. But until I sat in the circle with them a few nights ago at the verse-giving ceremony, and I listened to each one of them speak so passionately and so full of emotion, did the full impact of those words hit me. Those wise, wise words. And I started to cry. Because sitting in front of me were these young men and women who truly embodied those qualities. Now, I know that you will all be heading off into the world soon, and no matter where you go and what you decide to focus on, you will indeed change the world in some way. And you will make the world a better place. So I hope through this story I have been able to accurately portray the picture that I have of them. The qualities that I mentioned in my story are what stands out for me. That is what I feel and see when I think of this class. I see brave, courageous, compassionate, hard-working, artistic young men and women who have grown into incredible beings that will no doubt go out into the world and change it for the better. Now, I wasn't keeping track of the time. I was supposed to keep it within 5 minutes, and I think I went over by just a little bit. Sorry, Ms. Kokas, but I can't really sum up these amazing human beings in 5 minutes, so my apologies. Dear graduates, the last thing I want to say is that I love you from the bottom of my heart. And no matter where you go in life, a part of me will always be with you. I'm so, so proud of you. Congratulations, graduating class of 2020.
Thank you, Sharina. As we all know, our dear graduates love Miss Walker's stories, even as McKenna had mentioned the other night that she has to have it through a story if she's going to learn it and remember it. At this time, I want to introduce our keynote speaker. Now, part of it's a little bit different here at a Waldorf high school. The graduates had a lot of say about what today was going to look like and sound like and who they wanted to represent them and speaking to them. And they chose Madam Womble. Now, Madam Womble has been a part of our community for a long time in many forms, as faculty member, as parent, as social justice out there with the kids protesting. All of these things and values that they hold dear in their hearts, they share with Madam Womble. The class chose her because they felt that out of the members of the community, she was someone that knew every single being in our class in their senior year, who they were as a full upright being going out into the world. And so with that, let's please give a warm welcome to Amanda Womble.
I certainly hope to give you justice today. Firstly, I'd like to say how very full my heart is to be here in person with you all today, celebrating the achievements of these amazing graduates of the class of 2020. When Ms. Kokos asked me if I would be the keynote speaker for the class of 2020 commencement, I quickly said yes. Without hesitation, I was so honored to be asked to speak to this uniquely global and visionary group of people. However, when I sat down to write my speech, I was deeply overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed with all that is happening in our world today, even today. I was overwhelmed at how to begin to impart something that was worthy for this group of people. These students are so full of promise. And I kept asking myself, why me? Why did they ask for me? What do I bring to the table? In my Zoom classes with middle school these last few months, I have opened up a wrap session at the end of my classes where students can stay on and try and digest the events of what's going on. I don't try to inform them, they inform me. On this one particular day, it was May 27th, my mother's 93rd birthday, and my heart was heavy with the distance between me and my family. And my heart was heavy from the murder of George Floyd. I couldn't dare speak about it. I was overwhelmed with emotion. But I did ask the students who stayed on that day, what do you think the world needs right now? In rapid fire, without hesitation, as if on the wings of angels, they each spoke faith, hope, open-mindedness, and new perspective. I was dumbfounded. I wrote it down as swiftly as I could. I kept that little piece of paper with me every day. It brought me strength. When I set out again to attempt to write the speech, I carried the gesture of what was given to me by those students. I'll admit, for the format of writing a keynote speech, I had to Google it. I really had no idea what I was in store for. So I Googled, what is a keynote speech? Oh, and what popped up was suggestions for PowerPoint, examples of designs made for conferences and corporate events. Oh my God, I said. Okay, let me refine my search. Graduation keynote speeches. Oh yes, this would do it. What came up was how to apply what you learned in college. Oh my God, again. So finally, I said, refine the search. High school graduation keynote speech. What popped up at first glance seemed to be the perfect prompt. Talk to them about what the future holds. Oh my God. I thought to myself, what the future holds? Sheesh, I don't even know what the end of June looks like. I panicked. Absolutely. These students are depending on me. Oh my God. And then the voice in my head. I knew you'd be comforted by that. The voice in my head said the same advice that I give students in my world language class. Work with what you know. and build on it. Okay, I said to myself, so I know that from my perspective, the future will not look like the past. What I know is that time has continued, but I have slowed down, stopped even, reflected. I've taken inventory of what is most important to me, what matters most to me. I have told people openly that I love them. My hope is that I hang on to the blessings that have come to me during the COVID-19 quarantine. I hope to remember what it's like to hear the quiet stillness of the night. I hope to remember what it's like to hear the songbirds sing all day long and decipher the high-pitched chirping of their babies in the nest. I want to remember what it's like to watch a sticky squash blossom open in the course of one afternoon. I want to remember what it's like to see the sugar snap peas grow and plump before my very eyes. I hope to remember what it's like to play a board game before lunch, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, on Thursday. I hope to remember what it's like to not know the date for weeks and not care. I hope to remember what it's like to finish a 500-piece jigsaw puzzle in 2 uninterrupted afternoons. What it's like to make video lessons for my younger students and not know their reaction. I would like to remember how well we each carried on to the best of our individual differing abilities in good faith that this too shall pass. I want to remember how I gazed up at the trees blowing in the breeze, and the feeling that I had in that moment was that this was the most beautiful thing that I had ever seen. I want to remember the countless lives that have been lost to the COVID-19 virus, to family members and loved ones who have also passed during this time. And along with the thrashing and killing of this virus, we acknowledge and fight the virus that has been ravaging this country for far too long. The virus of racism, killing Black people and destroying communities. I must call out of the darkness racism and bring it toward the light. We must set our gaze into the future, united in the belief and the understanding that Black lives matter, with the understanding that when we say Black Lives Matter, that it does not bring up feelings that other lives don't matter. Just like when we marched to save the rainforest, we were not saying other forests did not matter. We were protesting its devastation. We are at a turning point in time. We have the opportunity before us to create the future we want. I hope that we can stand together, united as one people, a sovereign nation that treats all people fairly. As we walk in that direction, I hope that we can address the deep pain of a people whose lives have been devalued, fractured, fractioned for far, far too long. I hope that we can take upon ourselves to listen and listen and listen some more until all is said, until all that can be said is said, and that we hear it. That we hear it with strength and not be fragile. So that together, united, we can create the future that we all want. A future where we won't need to put our lives on the line to gather during a pandemic, to chant, to march, to scream that Black Lives Matter. Black lives matter because they do. And so I ask you, class of 2020, and all who are listening today, what do you bring to the table for the future? The table at which all will sit. The table at which all will eat. The table at which all will have a voice. The table at which we all will hear the mourning dove sing her sweet, sweet song of peace, freedom, and justice. I ask you, what will you bring to the table? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Wombo. Now, at this time, it's going to be the moment for your graduates to come up and speak. And I've had the honor to sponsor this class all 4 years in high school. And as my class knows, and as most of you know, I am a eurythmist, and so when I hear things and see things, I interpret the world a little bit differently. And I was thinking about my dear graduates and all of them and what they bring to the table and who they are and how they stand in the world. And so, for each of you, there's a different sound gesture that stood out to me that represents who you are and what you bring in the world and what you bring to our class. Now, this first student, this sound is raying meaningfully down towards you. Now, this is a gesture that is bringing the wisdom of the cosmos downward and into you. And so for you, Andy, the sound that reminds me of you is T, the gathering and the bringing in of that wisdom. So I would like to introduce first Andy.
Hello. Can you hear me? Yeah. We were covered in sand. We stood in the river, rubbing the river's bottom all over our skin while the rainforest sang about the color green in the rain around us. I had swam a bit, and while walking in the river, I noticed how soft my feet were from the exfoliating sand, and decided to do the same to the rest of me, starting with the thicker sand towards the middle of the river, and then the finer along the edges, leaving me feeling clean and soft as if I had just popped out of the womb. Soon, all my classmates were covered in sand and doing the same. I have to say, seeing Daichi dance in the middle of the river covered in sand was very entertaining. And it was as simple as that. We talked, laughed, exfoliated, and floated down the Pacuare River in Costa Rica together, and that's it. It stays in my memory as one of the most content moments in my life so far. I find it so pure that we exist this way. It's simple. Almost no effort to have a good time, we simply do. It's easy to just exist with you all. I don't have to think about it. I find it to be one of the purest and realest forms of friendship. There is no way to write this speech for me. I have all these things I want to say about this class, about my father and mother and step-parents and teachers, but I have none of the words. I can talk about the people I've spent my whole life with, but how can I do it in a couple of minutes? So I guess I'll just talk about a dream I had in Costa Rica after our exfoliating session. I was looking through the eyes of all the people who fell in love with all of the people in my class and close family. Through their eyes, I saw in a new way how my mama is wild and unapologetic and caring in the warmest ways, how my papi is full of a quiet and boundless love and will do literally anything for those he cares about, how my stepmom Edie's patience will be intact even when the world ends, her smile endlessly bright. How my stepfather Oli's kindness and thoughtfulness extends even to someone he shares no blood with. How Daniel's smile takes up all of his being, an expression of pure happiness. How Tallulah's fingers are nimble and capable, she is a Greek sculpture in color. How McKenna's laugh is the greatest compliment one can receive, and her wit the most brutal. How Tony's thoughtful expression is the most calming and consistent. How Maddie's eyelashes curl like crashing waves. How Lulu's freckles are like sunflowers, blissfully facing the sun. How Kennedy's gaze can be telepathic and her 3 moles artistically placed. And Marin's gait is sure but humble, her laugh like a little bell caught in her chest. How Nolia's eyes look like singing glaciers, and her hair shines with hints of gold in the sun. How Taylor Ray's long limbs sway with an unimaginable grace, like something out of a painting. How Nico's body is like a drum, sturdy and solid, his movements that of a very well-caffeinated dancer. How Cheryl's words seem to be chosen with care, her voice the song of a bird on the wind. How Sapar's movements exude self-assurance, his eyes mysterious but welcoming. How Cassie's spontaneous wisdom is to the point, but always compassionate and kind. How Daichi exists in thoughtfulness and confidence, standing in almost perfect balance. Seeing them all in this light was something close to magic. I could see the beauty being emitted from their pores, and now when I look back at memories of us, I will also see those things, and miss you all for them and for much more. I remember us all standing and swimming in that river, the rainforest speaking to me of your beauty, and this crazy thing we all have together that I wouldn't trade for anything. And when I make new friends and they ask me about my family, I'll have to ask them to sit down, because it's a long list.
Thank you, Andy. All right, well, I didn't even get through the first one without tearing up, so this will be, it's gonna keep going. All right. Now for this next student, our dear Tallulah, the sound that I've chosen for you is the sound of L. It's the quality of mastering something and of gaining power over it. And our dear Tallulah has plenty of this sound in her name, so for you is the L.
Right. Can you hear me? Okay. A year ago, after feeling inspired by the last 12th grade's graduation speeches, I started writing my thank you speech for today. But yesterday I changed my mind. Goodness knows I have a lot of thank yous, so I'm gonna get through my thank yous as quickly as I can and then say what needs to be said. Thank you to faculty and staff. Thank you especially to the teachers. You are the people in this community that make this school work. Every single one of you has taught me so much and has helped to shape me into the person I am. Thank you to the parents of our class. You have all shown me at one point or another what it means to love your children unconditionally. You gave me hope when I really needed it. I'm not entirely sure what for, but I know that having hope is essential for moving on. Thank you to my classmates for your friendship and for being my family. We are all so lucky to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard. Thank you to my Uncle Nick and my cousin Amanda for supporting me. Thank you to my grandfather and my great aunt Marion for making it possible for me to have this amazing experience and education. This school has been my home and my safe space for almost 10 years. I love this school and I love this community. That being said, I wanted to talk about my experience being a person of color in a predominantly white institution. I've been doing a lot of meditating with myself recently to help me get through this horrific time in our country and to just push through the last couple weeks of school. Sometime this week, I came to a mental turning point in regards to my experience at Waldorf as a person of color, good and not so good, and what my racial identity means to me. As of recently, and on more than one occasion, it has been pointed out to me that I'm not as white as I may seem to think. Momentarily dismissing the blaring problematicness of such statements, it got me thinking about the ways I have experienced covert whitewashing at this school. Simply by being surrounded by mostly white students and teachers, students of color seem to have forgotten their own racial and ethnic backgrounds due to this incredibly sneaky form of erasure. While this phenomenon is not actively being enforced, there should be more efforts made to put an end to it. This starts with people of color properly being seen and heard. I'm sure there are more students of color in our community who experience this mental whitewashing and don't even realize it. It is worth saying that it does not solely come from inside our community either. Internalized racism, especially in older generations who have lived their whole lives experiencing firsthand and the harsh realities of systemic racism all over the world, plagues many families. Our parents send us to school with the American dream and our success in their minds, believing their children will be better equipped to achieve it if they are conditioned to act and speak well. I personally struggle with this because I do take pride in my ability to speak proper English and write well. I constantly grapple with it, whether if this is of genuine pride or if it stems from a deeper internalized racism. We know now that, unfortunately, acting white and speaking good apparently plays a huge role in successfully climbing the capitalist ladder set up for us by white America. But the damage being done to people of color celebrating and loving themselves and their background is undeniable. Representation and role models is extremely important for young people. I took for granted the importance of having people in my life and at school who look like me and have experiences similar to the ones I've had. I can't fully explain how drastically and positively my day shifted just seeing Miss Patrick and saying hi in the hallways. Simply being in Miss Alvarez's art classes and writing in Miss Scott's creative writing class. I believe one reason why our community has had a hard time having conversations about race is due to a lack of representation in our community, not just in the student body, but also in faculty and administration. I would like to thank Ms. Katina from the bottom of my heart for starting an ethnic literature class, as it was indeed a step forward for our school. It's almost impossible to have a productive conversation about race if there is no one to represent people of color. I understand the uncomfortableness of teaching about racism in all its forms as a white person from a white perspective. But we cannot have conversations about race simply when students of color speak out. It is not our responsibility to represent the point of view of the other in your classes. It is your job as an institution to work harder to hire teachers of color to open up that conversation to more than just the people of color who are in our community. People don't want to join something if they don't see themselves represented. It's so hard to keep this fire. That's why we have to work together, inspire each other, and step up for those who can't. There's strength in numbers, and change, and protesting, and supporting looks different for everyone. It is our job as young people and high school graduates to change the world. So, class of 2020, let's give this world some hope.
Thank you, Tallulah. Now this next student that will come up and speak, we have seen him. Yeah, there he is. So I've seen him play his cello today, Nicholas. Now the sound for you, Nicholas, that I have chosen is the V. Now this one is a primal power of the creative spirit. This one was a difficult one for Steiner to speak into. It was one of the last sounds that he gave, that he spoke into the indications for. This one is everything of a wandering nature, where the essential element is movement. So this is for you, Nico. V, as we know. Let's give a big welcome to Nicholas.
I had only been on one flight before. When we landed and left the airport, the air was muggy. In all my life, this was the first time setting foot in this strange land. San Diego. I did not know anything about San Diego a few weeks prior. I did not even know of its existence. The frustration, compiled with nervous flutters, accompanied me as I took in the sights of ever so many palm trees. I entered the 3rd grade classroom and was instantly scared. I was led to a seat next to Taylor Ray. The fear that overwhelmed me in those moments was nothing I could comprehend. Never in my life had I experienced so many new things. All my senses were seemingly clogged. Little did I know at that moment that the class I joined would soon be the people who shaped the person that I am today. A candle was lit by Miss Walker, the teacher, someone I would be learning a great deal from in the coming years. Most importantly, discipline. Then the singing began. I'm not sure I had felt something this warm and holding before. Something in this new place was special. It may have been the mixture of McKenna's voice with Garrett's and Alyssa's. I will never know, but it was something that was striking and took me by surprise. Miss Walker led us outside. Actually, right here. Everyone was learning their times tables, you see, something that I had not much experience in, I might add. We practiced the 6th path while doing Chinese jump rope, another strange adventure for me. I was paired with Marin and McKenna. Marin was wearing flats, either black or blue. I cannot remember anymore, but they caught my attention. When recess finally came, I was swarmed. I had relaxed a great deal by then. Ginny came over to say hi, and I was certain she was in the class above us. She simply let off mature vibes, and she was tall. I proposed a game of banana tag, a game that my friend Tejas and I back in the Bay had perfected at our Waldorf school. The look of confusion on everyone's face was something that I will never forget. How could anyone live and not know of this wonderful tag game? But that was all right. I would just have to explain. After my explanation, off we went. I soon realized that my new friends had not exactly understood the game. Daichi and Alyssa ran at each other, tagging at the same time, then getting all confused, then doing their rock, paper, scissoring, and getting even more confused. After an amazing class with Miss Gomes, and some other class that was important, or not, because for the life of me I cannot remember what it was, the school day ended. The class sang, we shook hands, and left. My mother picked me up. At that moment, I knew I had found my people. McKenna had showed me so much kindness, and Daichi and Anthony had made me laugh after getting sent out for fighting, in which Daichi farted and didn't say safety and got punched by Anthony. I was ready to join this class right then and there. But I had the whole summer to wait. That waiting is similar to today, 9 years later. We stand on the threshold of a new world, a new beginning, a new family, new friends, new house, new strange land. To all my peers sitting here today, I hope the new strange land that you all find yourself arriving in will be as amazing, as much full of potential as the first day I set foot in Miss Walker's 3rd grade. Class into y'all's open arms. And to my fellow high school peers and everyone sitting here today and everyone on Zoom, don't forget to fall in love. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicholas. Now, this next student, the sound that I have chosen for you is the sound of self-assertion. Before Madeline went on her study abroad her sophomore year, there was lots of questions always and holding of things. When she returned, our dear Madeline had found herself. And so for you, the sound is E. Let's welcome Madeline.
As most of you know, I hate public speaking. But when we talked about giving our speeches in humanities about a month ago, Andy said, $10, Maddie won't give a speech. So here I am. I want to preface by saying no speech I could ever write would do my class justice, because there aren't words to describe how incredibly grateful I am to have been able to grow and learn beside these people. My journey began in kindergarten, where I learned to finger knit, where Nolia and I played house, and our currency was seed pods. Back then, Miss Fleming's underdogs were legendary. Back when each day had its own color, and we got our feet rubbed at nap time. Our journey then took us across the Rainbow Bridge, where we met Daichi and Andy. McKenna got her ears pierced, and Taylor Ray broke her arm. Miss Sharina became Miss Walker, and Cheyenne came along. In second grade, we had Santa Lucia and learned about the saints. Miss Holden rubbed our ears, giving Miss Walker a well-deserved break. In third grade, we learned baking and dabbled in religion. We were old enough to see the Paradise play, which was a point of pride. If only we had known how soon we would despise it. We went on our first camping trip, where we spread butter on our faces and our tents blew into the trees. And then we soon returned to pick the strawberries. In fourth grade, we learned about the gold rush and stayed in the capital of our state. And while we were there, it rained so hard that in the cars we were made to wait. We were told stories about the Norse gods, and Nico wore a wedding dress. We went whale watching, and while on the Star of India, we were in great distress. In fifth grade, we learned about ancient Greece and went to Yosemite. Liza became Miss Dick, and I became Miss Jean, and also a vegetarian after we were made to dissect a piece of meat. We said our goodbyes to Daichi, which left us all in tears. We had no idea then that he would soon reappear. In sixth grade, we moved downstairs. We got binders, got knighted, and were made to dance with strangers. We made animals and handwork, and our homework increased. We visited the Grand Canyon, and while most of us were falling apart and tears were being shed, Andy was on a picnic table reading, not a worry in their head. Nighttime came and all was well. We sat and sang songs and wrote some as well. In seventh grade, we went to JRC, where we took 2-second showers and cried on a hill as Zach played us a song. We attended our first dance and put on a Eurythmy play and celebrated the end of the year like always with a beach day. In the 8th grade, we completed our projects, made pajamas, and put on the 12th night play. We made burritos, explored Boston, and did yet another ropes course. The end of the year approached at a rapid pace, and next thing we knew, we sat sweating and singing, fighting back tears. That was when we said our thank yous and our first real goodbyes to our teachers and classmates and our old lives. There was nowhere for us to move our classroom to anymore. No more hall passes or kindergarten cooking smells. And even though it was sad, it all soon became well. High school has been interesting, but not always a blast. Daichi finally returned at last. We met Simon, Miss Kokis, and Miss Vinogradov, or OG Miss V. We went camping, did community service, and more you with me. We got graded and got tested in every single way. In the 10th grade, we put on yet another play. We experienced a great loss. Which shook our whole community. But I know Charles is here watching us today. Some of us split up to travel the world alone, leaving our classmates behind. We came home changed, the class divided. And after that, school wasn't quite the same. In 11th grade, we went to Costa Rica, where we packed into the hotel jacuzzi like sardines in a can. We woke the next day to beans and rice for breakfast as the jacuzzi was being disinfected. It had been too dark when we had gone to bed to see, but we had turned the water gray-green. After that, we caught and studied birds and bats. We went river rafting, and at the lodge, all there was to do was relax. Nolia read as Harry Potter, and we listened to the rain, and in the end, we grew even closer, which I didn't think was possible, because I went into it thinking, God, please get me home as soon as possible. 12th grade was different. We came to school late more than we were on time, but how can you really blame us when the clocks all read a different time? We ate in the hallways and forgot to lock up our phones. And the more we were rushed, the slower we'd go. We sat in our cars blasting music before school and would linger in the hallways until 4 p.m. to talk. It's late, go home, the teachers would say, but we'd just laugh, only to have the same thing happen the next day. We stayed out late and ate out and procrastinated a lot. We did homework and college essays together until we felt like our brains might rot. But everything changed when school moved online. If only we had known then that that day at school would be our last. We would have stayed longer, hugged longer, to see if we could make it all last. But we became pros at Zoom in no time, and at first it sucked, but it all soon became well. And the new rhythm stuck. Who knew our radio production would turn out so well? But I don't know why I'm surprised, because my friends are amazing and talented as hell. No matter the distance, and the distance will be great. I have no doubt that together we will remain. We might not see eye to eye and always get along, but we're there when it matters, and together we are strong. There are so many moments I wanted to recount, but with only a few minutes, I hope I've chosen well. We would not be standing here today if it weren't for you, so thank you, teachers. But before I bid you all adieu, I'd like to say a few more thank yous. I'd like to thank Mr. Wilcox for making me feel like college was something obtainable. Mr. Johnson, for always being positive and turning my least favorite subject into one of my favorite classes. Ms. Kokis, for being an advocate for the last 4 years. Las profes por ayudarme a hablar español con fluidez. My mom, for insisting I continue my Waldorf education no matter how much I complained, and all the sacrifices both my parents have made. And lastly, I'd like to thank Ms. Walker for teaching me to own up to my mistakes.
Thank you, Maddie. Students, if you can make sure when you come up that you are able to be heard nice and clear, that would be helpful for those online. Now this next student, the sound that I have chosen for you is described as the consciousness of being permeated with wisdom. When you feel your own inner being and then the experience in it, wisdom lives in me. Wisdom created me. I breathe out wisdom. And the word is know that I know. And the sound for you, Daichi, is F. Let's give a warm welcome to Daichi.
Hello. So first off, I want to thank everyone who is here, whether you're here virtually or whether you're here live or whether you're here in spirit. You know, it means a lot to me and to I think everybody that you are here celebrating with us. So my appreciation goes out to all of you, and of course to everybody. Also because you've brought us here and helped us on this journey. And so this is definitely a big turning point, and I'm glad we're here to celebrate this. Secondly, I want to acknowledge the original people of this land, the Kumeyaay people, the Kumeyaay Nation. This is their traditional homeland, so it's important to recognize that legacy and that history. They're still here. They've always been here, so let's keep that in mind. Now, first I want to speak to the older generations, the parents, the grandparents, the teachers, the administrators, the tech personnel. Basically, if you're like a real life adult, you know, this is like sort of directed at you. I think it's safe to say that your generations have experienced possibly the most change of any human generations so far. I mean, there's just like there's an endless list of crazy things that have shifted during your lifetimes. There's simple things like communication. You know, you've gone from handwritten letters to typewriters to Facebook and Snapchat and Zoom, and you've gone from records, yeah, I know what those are, to cassettes, to CDs, to digital music, right? There's also bigger, like, more terrifying changes. You've seen warfare change incredibly. The way we live with electricity, the way it's gone from being produced by coal to nuclear energy to renewable energy. There's all these incredible technological changes that you've made and that have happened during your lifetimes. There are also a lot of social changes. Some examples are the civil rights movement. During your lifetimes, there's definitely been a heightened awareness about a lot of social issues like, oppression of minority groups and things like that, whether it be people of color or women or immigrants or members of the LGBTQ community and many more. There's definitely been some changes there. But I would submit to you that my generation, myself and my peers and their siblings will probably see even more changes than you have, and even greater changes. The reason why I think this is because, as you all have seen as well, when I interact with my friends, when I listen to them speak, I see that we are all very determined and ambitious, and we will stop at nothing to see more changes and more positive changes. And part of that is thanks to you, because you've taught us well, and you've brought us to this place, and you've given us understanding and perspective. But also, a huge part of this is because we've seen the mistakes you've made as older generations. We've seen where you've dropped the ball, where you've forgotten things. And as us, as the younger generation, I see our job as being, not dropping the ball as much and picking it up quickly when we do, because we will make mistakes, I'm sure. But if you look at, for example, in our country, police brutality and racism, right? If back in 2014, when Michael Brown, an unarmed black teenager in Ferguson, was shot and killed by a white police officer, right? The world and the country woke up for a hot minute, and people were in the streets, people were protesting, people were speaking out. And as the years have gone on, there have been more and more cases of this kind of documentation of this specific issue, police brutality and racism. Small steps have been made. We've seen those. A lot of departments have made their officers wear body cams and stuff like that. But it's not enough. It's not even close to enough. And that's why we're here where we are right now, where nationwide and all over the world, people are in the streets, and they're marching, and they're demanding justice and things to change, because they haven't changed enough. And that is, what's happening now is, unfortunately, is still a small step. We have to keep going. We have to keep fighting, keep taking bigger and bigger steps forward. And so now addressing my peers and the graduates, the younger people here, I'm young and I don't know a whole lot about life and all that, but I think this one thing is worth saying, and that is that we have to keep our guard up, and we have to stay vigilant, and we cannot sit back or become complacent for a single nanosecond, because we've seen what that does with the generations before us. We've seen where they've dropped the ball. We've seen where mistakes have been made. We know the results. We know what happens there. And so it's incredibly hard to be going into the next stage of our lives and thinking like that we have to have our fists up the whole time. But unfortunately, I feel that it's our responsibility, and that is the job we have as the next generation. And I urge the older generations too, parents, grandparents, step-parents, teachers. You've given us a lot, you've brought us here, but you're still with us, so don't feel that, your job is done. Stick with us, follow us. Of course, we still need your guidance, but we're going into this together, no matter how old you are. And of course, we can't always take ourselves too seriously, and we have to have fun. We have to be happy. We have to have joy and love in everything we do. So, there has to be a balance. And I think it's kind of like sleeping with one eye open. So, as we go into this next stage of our lives, I hope that we can all support each other and encourage each other when going gets hard. And I really look forward to seeing what we will all do together. Thank you.
Thank you, Daichi. Now, this next student is an essential part of our community, but he unfortunately has not been able to be with us since February when he went home for the New Year in China. Now, our dear classmate Tony, we do have a graduation speech that I'm going to read on behalf of Tony. Now, the sound that I chose for Tony, those that know our dear Tony, he might appear stoic, but we know there's depth there. We know that heart. We know it comes out in his poetry. I have it in his seminar books. Now, he's quiet often, sitting back and observing. The sound that I chose for Tony is the ooh, holding fast to oneself. Now, As you guys can imagine, I'd like you to envision about a 6'4" young man reading this. We miss you, Tony. We love you. It says, hello, everyone. My name is Tony Mew, a member of the 2020 class graduates. 4 years of Waldorf life. Meanwhile, the U.S. life truly widened my sight in some degree. To me, Waldorf isn't only a traditional existence of a school, however, but a community filled with love. And because I chose WSSD, not only have I gained meaningful academic knowledge, but also the philosophy to be a better human being. One big discovery I've noticed when I first merged into the community is the easy attitude towards daily life. Y'all know this, and I will not spend another 10 minutes to discuss this fact. Everyone is a friend. There's no bullying, equal rights. They always help each other, and tons of chattering noise, plus complaints about homework. Sounds like you guys. I don't know how it is like to the other classes, but this is the component of my class. Of course, don't include me in the last two, the complaining about homework. Everyone in the class of 2020 plays his, her, and their role magnificently their own way, which is unique and unparalleled. No one is even 10% identical. Besides, I can't even remember the white girl's name in the first month. Multiple of different things, though, make us bond and complement each other. Ethnic backgrounds, languages, characters, and temperaments. With the most variety of diversity through all 4 of the classes. It is a miracle to build the most united class ever. It is my pleasure to be a part of this significant group. Thank you, Tony. We love you and we miss you. Now, for this next student, the sound that I have chosen. The description given to it was, "Oh, human, you have drawn your being from 2 different points of universal space. You must stretch out your arms in order to lay hold of these different directions. In doing so, you take of that out of which you came, from the cosmos. You should feel these streaming through your arms, flowing together. This is the awe. This is where the human experiences themselves coming out of the cosmos. Pure wonder, pure amazement. This is for you, Taylor Ray." Let's give a big welcome to Taylor Ray.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming today. I had some trouble writing the speech, and then Mr. Wilcox told me to get a life, so here I am getting a life. I want to start out by telling you how my high school experience started. It went a little something like this. So I walked in, it was my very first day, and the second Miss Kokas saw me, she pulled me into her office and told me that my shorts weren't following dress code. And let me tell you, I thought I was the coolest kid in school. That day, I went around telling everyone I got dress coded on the first day. But little did I know that would not be the last time I got dress coded. And wow, looking back on it now, those shorts were way too short. I am telling you this story not only because it's a funny one, but also because I want to express how much I've grown since then. I am so grateful to all of my teachers and my classmates for shaping me into the person I am today. From freshman year, when I must have gotten dress coded once a week, to sophomore year when I lost my dad, and junior year when I scraped my hand on the railing of a suspension bridge in Costa Rica and had to get a tetanus shot, and now to senior year with the virus, murder hornets, and I even had surgery 36 hours ago. There were many, many obstacles sitting on the stage today, but I am proud to say that we are stronger than ever. And as Mr. Wilcox would say, step it up, seniors. I think we did just that, and I guess I did too. With all of that being said, I would like to say thank you to my teachers. Ms. Kokas, you were an amazing mentor. Thank you for always letting me sit in your office. Mr. Johnson, thank you for putting up with me in class and teaching me about good credit. I wish I could stand here all day and thank every teacher that has been through this journey with me, but I cannot. And lastly, I want to say a big thank you to my mom for always supporting and loving me. Class of 2020, we did it! Woo!
Thank you, Taylor Ray. It's been a running joke for 4 years about dress codes, by the way. Now, this next student joined us in our sophomore year. We met her mom, who we immediately embraced in our community, and when we met our dear Lulu, we knew she had to be a part of our community and our class. Now, for Lulu, as we know the running joke, as you guys like to pass around who is the class mom, the gesture I have chosen for you is the ba. This is a gesture of protection and shelter. Let's give a warm welcome to Lulu.
Hello. Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. So I'd like to start off by saying I don't know how to begin this oddly important speech. Maybe its importance is exaggerated, and I'm really hoping for that. It's been about 14 years that I've been forced to wake up every morning to go to some building with kids my age and one adult teaching us about the world. And now, I've made the executive decision to move to another city so that I can wake myself up and go to some building with kids my age and one adult teaching us about the world. Even if I did this for the rest of my life, I don't think I would learn as much as I want to. The thirst for the world is unquenchable in the classroom, but it's a good start. And that's what I've done. I've just started. Just starting my life, my education, and my impact as my own person. But as a child, under the roof of my parents, and shared with my little sister, I became this person you see today. I have lived only 18 years, but it feels like a century of memories, friends, and life. And I have my family to thank for letting me explore the world and what it has to offer. I started my education at Little Angels Catholic School, where they taught me sign language and how to share the tiger toy. The school was located next to a field of sunflowers, and all the rooms were named after bugs. I hid in the playground one time until after recess and got in trouble for the first time in my life. I thought it was ironic that the school was called Little Angels when I sat in the principal's office. We had a winter concert and I got my first kitten heels. A boy kissed me on the cheek and I didn't talk to him after that. I went to another school where all I could remember was going to my girls' ink club after school. Another where all I remember is the library, falling in love with books, and befriending the librarian. McKinley Elementary is where I went to 1st through 5th grade, and I know it's not important that all you know my timeline, but it's the longest I've ever been anywhere in my life. That is where I became Lulu. That is where a part of me still is, and I can't tell you how much I miss the magic and not knowing where babies come from. After those developing years, I noticed a change in myself. I was unhappy for the most part of my life, until finally I was diagnosed with depression and put on medication in 10th grade. For those 4 years in between, it was like I was living in black and white. I thought my whole speech would be about those 4 years and how I overcame and whatnot, but I still am overcoming, and therefore I have nothing to say about it. Rather, I'll tell you about my future. Beginning of high school, I wanted to be a writer. Now I loathe having to write a paragraph. Then I wanted to be a doctor, and that's when I found out I don't really like biology or extra schooling. But I went off with the idea of helping people, wondering how much pure good I could give to the world. I wanted to join the Peace Corps this year and give my life to provide a positive impact. But now is when I'm finding out how much I enjoy math and physics. And I would like to do something I like while helping. Maybe I'll construct the next magnet train in the Americas while dealing with what negative impact that would leave. Or perhaps I ponder the existence next to a lake in a cabin, or become an astronaut. The theme is I have no clue what I'm going to do, and I never really have. I'd like to think I'd do a couple things with my time on this planet. But all I do know is I'm going to love the people around me, grow from the earth and the teachers that have lived before me. I'm going to live to be my highest self, who I got to meet through Waldorf. I'm not going to gush about this school like how I always do. You already know the love you're giving these kids. Perhaps I needed my personal space to be invaded by you all, because I never had anyone else care like you all do. I always wondered what school I would graduate from, so thank you for being the school I graduated from. Thank you all for being the people I graduated with. And thank you to my parents for being my crutches when I couldn't walk. And thank you, Waldorf, for helping me walk again.
Thank you, Lulu. Now this next student, there she is, has been in our community for a very long time. And the sound that I have chosen for you, Marin, is the K. Matter mastered by spirit. Let's give a warm welcome to Marin.
Wow, we're actually graduating. I'm not gonna lie, I've dreamed of this day for a very long time. As the 4 years of high school went on, I dreamed of it more and more frequently. With that being said, I recognize we'll never get these years back. I try not to regret anything in my past, but to learn from it instead. So I do not regret the days, and there were many, that I rushed through, not taking time to appreciate them. But I'll learn from that. I'll move forward and take less days for granted. With everything happening recently, I've realized you can spend your day laying in bed, not just going through the motions, or you can do something with the cards you've been dealt and make memories that'll last forever. Things you can look back on or tell your children about and be proud of. The past 4 years at Waldorf have really tested my limits and pushed my boundaries. It's made me a better person. It's pushed me to speak up and allow myself to not be silenced by a more powerful voice. In other words, speak truth to power. A lot of things I've learned from Waldorf were not just taught in the classroom, though. It was often the small things the teachers said or did that had the most meaning. I feel I owe a huge thank you to Miss Walker for this. All of the things she taught us over our 8 years together have really stuck with me. She showed us how to be genuine and how to stay true to ourselves no matter what. You led us by example. These things rubbed off on me more than I realized at the time and more than you will ever know. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now the part I was most excited, yet also nervous to speak about, my class. Wow, I don't know how to sum us up, but I'll try. For those of you who don't know us very well, we're a class of leaders. We're very passionate, expressive, creative people, and we come up with great visions. This sometimes kicks us in the butt when you're trying to put something together, and we all have our own visions, ideas, opinions, and willpower. Yet at the end of the day, we can all learn from each other and lean on each other. We're a class that has done a lot together. We have had debates, arguments, pulled pranks, had lots of laughs, and yes, we've shed tears together. If one person is suffering or hurting, we all feel it. And when someone is celebrating, we'll all celebrate. I want to thank Waldorf for bringing these people into my life. Not just my class here today, but anyone who has been in our class, or anyone in the classes in school around us. From parent taught when I met my first friend, who I'm still friends with today and talk to just about every day, to first grade when I met someone who gets me like no one else, to every other year with the friends who have come and gone. They're all family. This school has brought people into my life that impacted it like no other, from the teachers to the students to the families of the students, who some have felt like another home. I'd like to mention the 2.5 years, would have been 3, of rowing I spent rowing at the San Diego Rowing Club. The friends, experiences, opportunities, and mentors rowing gave me are priceless. Rowing was the perfect complement to my experience at Waldorf. It created a balance in my life. It expanded my social opportunities and gave me another community I could connect with. It taught me dedication, motivation, and perseverance, and it gave me inspiration and confidence. It showed me that even if I wanted to give up, or quit, or not to finish, that what mattered was giving it my all for the benefit of the team. It was bigger than just me. I want to thank the 4 people I have here today. I want to thank my brother Nathan, who I've looked up to since the day I was born, and who has stood by my side and supported me, even if we don't always see eye to eye. I want to thank my dad and my mom for sacrificing more than I'll ever know to give me the best education they saw fit, for loving me unconditionally and being my everyday role models. I could never thank you enough. I also want to thank my step-parents, Minka, who is here, and Dave, who could not be here. Thank you for bringing so much into my life, from new families to new experiences to new opportunities. And lastly, I'd like to thank my class. Thank you for being the people you are. You are all such unique and strong people. I know we have created memories that are unforgettable, and no matter where we go in life, we will have each other. I'm so proud of all of you for the things you have gone through and how you have managed to come out the other side even stronger. I love you all, and I'm truly blessed to have been a part of this class. So now, cheers to our new chapters.
Thank you, Marin. Now, this next student is also a longtime member of our community. She's been with us since before she could walk. Now, the sound that I have chosen for Nolia, the sound is S. Steiner said, whoever masters this sound can see into the soul of men and into the hearts of women. It is penetrating, and you have to calm something against what we must feel is on guard. This is a powerful peace-bringing element, bringing calm into that which is in a state of unrest. So this is for you, Nolia. Let's give a big warm welcome to Nolia.
Can you all hear me? Is that better? Awesome. Hi everyone, we did it! So, like Marin, I've run through this day in my head probably about 1 million times. I've pictured what it would be like, who would be here, who would be laughing the loudest, probably Liza. This, of course, is not what I'd ever imagined. That being said, I'd really like to recognize how lucky we are. This is such an amazing Plan B. So many people have poured so much into today, and we're so fortunate to have something even remotely in person. Anyway, I love all these people so much, and I always imagined that would turn into a certain speech. That was until a few weeks ago. This reality that we're living in today is so much different than that graduation utopia I had imagined countless times. The world is mourning and waking up and trying to reshape around us. I know that we will never forget this time, not just because it was when we graduated, but because it was history, and it is history. But it's also only the beginning. The murder of George Floyd and so many others, the protests, the police brutality, the racism, plus a global pandemic. This is the moment we're graduating in, and it feels like a really big one and an important one. Now, I would like to talk about my class for a little bit. It's hard for me to sum up our time together in one story or experience or memory. I've had the time of my life with you all. I could go on about each of you for hours and hours and hours. Each and every one of these people is so unique. We all combine together to make one big, chaotic, creative, and beautiful salad. Now, to take this salad idea a little bit further, here's an idea of who would be who in our salad. Okay, so first off, you need some leafy greens for a salad, right? These are very important. They're the basis for everything. They hold it all and they're not going anywhere. The greens have been there from the start. Taylor Ray is our greens, specifically lettuce. For some variety, our salad has another leafy green, cabbage. The cabbage wasn't always there. It was added fairly recently, and now the salad really cannot imagine what it would be like without the cabbage. Lulu is our cabbage. Now, to end the leafy greens mix of our salad is Kennedy, the spinach. Spinach and Kennedy know what they want. They're confident, strong, assertive, and very funny. Now on to Cheryl. What is the kindest, sweetest ingredient out there? I think it's sweet peas. Their name confirms it. The sweet peas were one of the last ingredients to be added to the salad, but now it feels like they've been a part of the salad forever. We love you, Cheryl. Our salad extends all the way through Zoom to China. Tony is the cilantro in our salad. At first glance, cilantro just blends in with all the other ingredients, but when you get a taste of it all, cilantro is so unique and so necessary. Cilantro and Tony are subtle with a little bit of unexpected humor. Tony's always ready to deliver a joke that none of us could have ever thought up. When I was thinking about what ingredient Sapar would be, I tried to find the most humble vegetable I could. I landed on carrots, Sapar. I think this works for two reasons. First, carrots are very humble and dependable. You can always count on them. They're pretty cool, but they don't show off at all. And second, they're usually pretty long and skinny, just like Sapar. Okay, now, I think that the crunch factor is very important in a salad, and one of our crunches is candied pecans. The pecans are a different texture than everything else in the bowl. They don't think or work like anyone else, and that's part of why they're so important. Candied pecans are sweet on the outside and hearty and complicated on the inside. Nico is our candied pecans. It's always nice to have a second but very different crunch in a salad. Ours is Tallulah, the sunflower seeds. They're so quirky while being hearty and deep at the same time. Sunflower seeds and Tallulah always have a new random tidbit of information to share with the salad, and the salad really, really loves them for it. Okay, now on to the dressing. Dressing is very deep, and it keeps all of the other ingredients together, while adding some complementing flavors to the mix. I would say Maddie is our dressing. She keeps everyone together, and we really wouldn't be a salad without her. She has a little taste of everyone while being completely herself. McKenna is the red onion in our salad. Red onions are a tiny bit spicy, but they're a lot less spicy than you think they are at first. And they're a whole lot sweeter. McKenna balances out our other qualities while bringing in her own amount of special something to the mix. Our salad is pretty cool, actually. There's a lot of different flavors. We've also got some orange slices in our salad, and I really do not know what we would do without them. Daniel is the orange in our salad. He's so sweet and positive. Now, Marin. Every good salad has some avocado, right? Avocado is the best. It can get along with all the other ingredients in the bowl without even trying, while bringing some new texture, ideas, and honesty to the bowl. Marin is definitely our avocado. Now, I think Daichi is the radish in our salad. Radishes don't take anyone too seriously. They can be so many things and they're full of surprises. They're thoughtful and just a jack of all trades. Now, Andy, what vegetable would be the wisest, give the best advice, and really see the other ingredients around it while being completely themselves? I think it's the tomato, and Andy is our tomato. Okay, a few days ago I asked Cassie what ingredient she thought she'd be in our salad. Just in a salad in general, I gave it out of context. She decided she would be the spider that found its way into the salad just right before it was packaged. I did not immediately agree with her, but it works after a little bit of thought. That spider chose to be a part of the salad, and it's never going to leave. It keeps the salad interesting and definitely on its toes. The salad was getting a little bit old and it needed something new. And all of a sudden, Cassie the spider came along. Now, I'm not sure ingredient what I am in the salad. I think that's for someone else to decide. You can tell me later if you want. No, I'm getting to the bowl. In a second. Now, of course, we're all a lot deeper than a few vegetables, of course. But we do all combine together to make a tasty, interesting mix. Now it's time for the ingredients to separate out and go into the world on their own. But we've all changed and grown in this salad bowl, and we're coming out a lot different than when we were tossed in. So, the last thing I want to say is that if we are the salad, each and every one of you are the bowl, our community. You are our salad bowl. You've held us together while letting us be ourselves, and we would just be a big mess without you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Nolia. Now for this next student, she also has been a member of our community for a long time. One of the things I always love and enjoy about McKenna is her wit and her delivery of communication. She keeps me laughing all the time. And you always know how McKenna is feeling and where she stands. And I really, really appreciate that. I enjoy it as her teacher and working with her as her mentor and class sponsor. The sound, McKenna, that I have given you is the sound duh, drawing attention to something and raying out towards something. This is also one of the first sounds, right, as we're naming things. And McKenna has always given us that gift of calling things out, which we need. So this is for you, McKenna. Duh. Let's give a warm welcome.
It is hard to stand up here and say something that will do justice to not only the experience, but also the life that I've lived for the past 14 years. I can honestly say I never expected this day to come, and I certainly didn't expect it to come in times like these. My Waldorf journey has been so much more than just an education. It has been my childhood, and the friends that I've made are so much more than just my friends. They are my family. There is a concept that I've been toying with lately, and it's the idea that you can know someone for as long as you have known yourself. And in my case, I think it's definitely true because I just don't have that many memories from before I was 4 years old and met so many of you. It's the summer after sophomore year, only a few days after school had ended, and I'm saying goodbye to my friends before leaving on exchange to Australia. It was in that moment that I realized something. This would be the longest I had been away from almost all of my classmates since I had met them, and I was only going to be gone for 3 months. The only person who I had been away from longer was going to be Maddie because our exchanges overlapped, and that was going to be 6 months. I don't even know what I'm going to do without you guys for the next however many months it is before I see you guys again. I look forward to so many FaceTime calls and impromptu visits from people who are close to each other, and just really trying to take the time to make sure that we stay in contact and seeing each other as much as possible. I also just want to take this time to really say thank you. Thank you to all the teachers who have been so invested in our success and all the family members who have always supported us. I also can't make this speech and not talk about COVID-19 and what it has taken from us. The virus has had a huge impact on everyone, but I never could have imagined what it would mean for our senior year and the final memories of high school together. I could also not say how lucky we have been to be surrounded by all of you and to have such a loving community. You guys have gone above and beyond in every way possible, from dropping off anonymous gifts to sending a whole bunch of borderline creepy letters, and I just really appreciate how much effort everyone has put in, and I mean especially in the surrounding community, like people who I've never met before who sent me letters. It was very nice once I figured out who they were from. I really appreciate how everyone's put so much effort into creating a new experience for these unique and unprecedented times. There are so many things that I'm going to miss about every single one of you, but I want to focus on what we can look forward to together. Change is hard, but it is inevitable. We will always have our after-school boba runs and post-performance rodeo, our drive-in movies, late-night Denny's, and endless thank you cards. What we can look forward to together is the future and our next chapters. I love you all so much, and I can't wait to see how you change the world.
Thank you, McKenna. Now for this next student, there she is. The sound that I have chosen for you, you will probably not be so surprised by. It is the sound of A. Something has been done to me, but I hold myself upright and I confront it. I meet it. You've already gone through something. It's expressing the touching, the holding of self upright, confronting the event. We do not allow what has been done to us to trouble us. So the sound for you, Kennedy, is A. Let's give a big warm welcome to Kennedy.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. So I would like to start off by saying that I'm pretty nervous about giving this speech, partly because this is the most people I've been in front of in over 3 months now, and mostly because I know I could start crying at any moment. I have so many amazing memories with my class. We shared incredible moments together throughout high school, and now we're fighting through this whole situation together. I crossed the Rainbow Bridge from kindergarten to first grade with most of these people. When Mr. Wilcox first gave us the assignment of starting on our graduation speeches, I couldn't believe it. I had been to countless graduations in my lifetime, and I couldn't fathom that it was our turn to write them. Our turn to stand up on stage in our cap and gowns, which aren't very breathable fabric, but thank God it's not 1,000,000 degrees today. Our turn to start our futures. It was really hard for me to decide what I wanted to focus on in my speech, but I think I finally figured it out, but bear with me if it's a hot mess. So my class tends to be used as the guinea pigs at Waldorf. Let me explain. We were the first 7th grade class to have a Spanish class, and we were lucky enough to have Profe Wilson, then Profe Gomez, and Profe Anaid in the high school. We also had our first Eurythmy fairy tale that year, the first 7th grade class to do one, thank you very much, which we put together with Miss Laurelyn and Miss Kokas, not knowing that she would be our Eurythmy teacher in high school and our class sponsor. We were the first 8th grade to have the community service twist on our 8th grade projects, and the first high school freshmen to have Eurythmy. And of course now, we are the first senior class to do our play over Zoom, and the first class from WSSD to graduate during a pandemic. We often had teachers in training come and teach us, and they might have gone to other classes too, but for the sake of me proving my point, let's just pretend it was just our class. I always wondered why there are always little experimentations here and there on what we did, and sometimes it could be a little frustrating to not do it how we'd seen the grades before us do it. And I think I actually finally figured out why we were always the guinea pigs. Here's why. This class is full of strong, confident, and amazing human beings. We have this unbreakable bond, which has made us even stronger. My classmates are kind, powerful, ambitious, smart, and whatever other positive descriptive word you want to throw in there, people. Because of that, it made sense to make us the guinea pigs. We're also a pretty mellow group, if you put it into perspective, which was probably another factor. I can't express the joy that I'm experiencing right now to be with my class graduating. We did it, you guys. I can't wait to see what the future has in store for each and every one of us. No matter what it is, it's going to be amazing. Now I suppose I should thank a few people. Of course, I want to thank my class for the amazing memories and for always loving and supporting me. I want to thank my mom and dad for loving me and raising me into who I am today. And lastly, I want to thank the WSSD faculty, especially Ms. Walker and Ms. Kokas, for putting up with us, our shenanigans, and our drama all these years. Because without you guys, our education at Waldorf wouldn't be possible. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and congratulations to the class of 2020.
Thank you, Kennedy. Now, this next student joined us spring of our sophomore year. Now, the sound that I have chosen for you, Daniel, is the sound of becoming light, the lifting of matter through the spirit. Let's give a warm welcome to Daniel.
Hi, everyone. Our class is like a tree, and a salad too. Some of us are the roots, keeping us grounded. Others are like flowers, offering a lighthearted quality. The thing is, our tree needs nutrients from the soil, the people who feed us, our mind, body, and soul. And there's also sunlight from the world. The sun, the soil, and the tree, they all come together, and they're stronger together when we work in harmony. Here we are, coming together right before we branch out in our own unique ways. Andy, going to France to work on your beautiful talent for film. Cassie, make everyone in the room roar with laughter. And Cheryl, your presence illuminates everywhere you go. Daichi, going to Japan, bringing soul through your words. Kennedy, caring for other people through nurturing bodies with nutrition. And Lulu, sending love into the world with all the ways you plan on doing it. Maddie, going to Switzerland to change international relations and communications. McKenna, you have a bright mind filled with amazing ideas and will voice them in a big way. Marin, where are you, Marin? You're gonna do great top secret things to the FBI. Oops, I spoiled it. Not so secret anymore. And Nico, you breathe harmony into the world through your love for cello. Nolia, I'll vote for you as president someday. And Sapar. Where are you, Sapar? Oh, Sapar, I can't wait to see what you do with computer science and sports. Tallulah, your artistic ability makes everything you touch come alive. And Taylor Ray, you have an artistic eye and an excellent eye for photography from a fresh perspective. And Tony. Everyone will want a taste of your culinary creations. To my soil, my mom, my dad, Elizabeth, Max, Babushka, Bear, Julia, Jimmy, the Gutowskis, my Russian mafia, the Sand Squirrels, and my Waldorf community, all my teachers, and my scouts and my yogis. Thank you for being my nutrient-rich soil. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, okay. That's all too. I graduated early. To my branches. Not this one too. Okay. My branches. I'm so excited for us to all, yes, branch out and pursue whatever it is that needs to be pursued. Thank you for all taking me in as one of your own. And to my son, everyone here in person, and everyone streaming live, I thank you. And to everyone above me and below me and to my left and to my right, I send you love and light. Namaste.
Thank you, Daniel. Just a moment. Just doing what I do, don't mind me. All right, you guys, thank you. Now this next student joined us in our sophomore year. He was very quiet and shy when he was joining us. Now the sound for you, Sapar, signifies the understanding of something, the capacity for intelligently entering into something and to be in agreement. Sapar is often a harmonizing factor in our class. So the sound for you is the sound Let's give a warm welcome to Sapar.
Okay. Can you hear me? All right. So hello everyone. I want to thank you guys for being here. And I want to start my graduation speech with a story. So I moved to the United States in the summer of 2017. And we came to New York with my family first and bought a car and drove all the way here. While we were driving, I missed the back to school night. I was upset that we didn't make it, and I was worried that I'm going to be a weird kid that didn't attend that evening. Before I came to the school, I watched a lot of movies about US schools, and in the movies, there are a lot of bullies, and I thought I would have to deal with that. I was late for the first day of school when all the people were sitting in the auditorium in lower school, and I opened the door and saw a lot of people just looking at me, and it was awkward. But one kid with curly hair about 5 feet and 5 inches came up to me and said, "Yo, my name is Nicholas." And I was like, damn, this kid is very kind. And when the rose ceremony happened, I didn't know what was happening. It was weird, but sweet. We came to the high school, and it was my first seminar. It was with Mr. Moraskis. And I pulled up my phone to open Instagram and started scrolling. I did it because in situations when I don't know anyone or I don't understand what is happening, I open my Instagram. 5 seconds later, I heard Mr. Moraskis say to me that phones are not allowed. I was like, wow. I remember my first seminar book when I listened to the instructions on how to make the seminar book. I was like, wow. When we had our first rhythmic class, wow. First class with Mr. Wilcox, wow. By the way, I realized that Nolia is Mr. Wilcox's daughter after 2 months of school. I had a lot of wows and woos in my first year of school. It was crazy. I felt like I was on a roller coaster. A lot of emotions and feelings were inside of me, and the main highlight from my first year of school was that I met a lot of great people and made friends. If you ask me about the funniest highlight from the school, it will be hard to choose one because there are a lot of them, but one story always in my head. Camp Stevens, about 11 p.m., Daichi, Nico, Tony, Daniel, and I are sitting in a room and talking. Suddenly got quiet, and Tony asked Daniel a question. You Korean, right? The room got very quiet, and I looked at Daichi. He was looking at me with confusion in his eyes. And I looked at Nico, and we were all confused. Then Tony asked Daniel again, you Korean? And the room got like super quiet. And we realized that he was asking him if he was a Ukrainian. Yo, Tony, love you, bro. Everyone started laughing very loudly, and it was one of the funniest nights of my life. There are many other funny stories, but I don't have time to tell them all. I appreciate every person who made my school days fun. Honestly, I thought I was gonna fail in any US schools due to my lack of English, and I thought I'm gonna have no friends, I'll be alone, and I thought no help would be provided. I appreciate the school faculty and especially my classmates that made my thoughts to go away and never think about them, and for being supportive in hard times and being lit. It would be much harder if I would not go to Waldorf. And I want to say to my classmates that just remember that we have your back, that you should be always stay positive, and just, call me anytime. I'll be supportive, I hope. And I want to say a big shout out to my family, because it's just how brave they are to move here, not knowing English and not knowing what to expect, just to give me a very good education here. And I want to say thank you to my sister who's watching from Europe, from Latvia right now, for being supportive throughout all the high school years, and her husband. Thank you. And so I think the new chapter in my life begins now. Yeah.
Thank you, Sapar. Now, this next member of our community joined us in our junior year. And when Cheryl joined us, she brought with her her grace and her kindness. The sound that I have chosen for Cheryl is like an affectionate caress, such as you would with a child, and that is the gift that she brings to our class, and that is the sound of I. Let's give a big warm welcome to Cheryl.
Hi, you all heard all the amazing components about my class, and my very first memory of the school was seeing the group of people, my class, laying on the ground in the middle of the hallway. It was totally a novel way of socializing for me, and I wasn't sure if my white pants could handle that. But not so long after, I started laying on the ground with them together. I become a family in this class. I will never forget our Costa Rica trip together. That was the only 4 weeks, not worrying about anything but enjoy the moments that we had together. My cousin Yang cried when she picked me up from the airport because she saw I was suffering from all the muds, the cold showers, and stinky clothes. When I told her later, it was the best 2 weeks I've ever had. My class is truly a magic. Not only because they let me break my own rules I have followed my entire life, they make me feel safe. We are really a family. I procrastinated this speech till the very last moment. My brain just couldn't process the fact that we have finished our journey together. I really want to say thank you to my class for having me. And we'll always reach out to one another and always be together. And I truly believe that we are all amazing people, and we will all shine brightly in the world and make a change. My experience in Waldorf wasn't only about education, it was also about life experience and cultural blending. I really want to say thank you to Sharina and Kim for having me staying with you for a year. I was in two families loaded with love, considerate care, and support. What you did for me makes me really feel like home. I'm really grateful that I can be your daughter, and I would not be ready to become an adult without living with you guys. And your love is priceless. At the very end, I want to say thank you to all the teachers and faculties. I know I'm an amazing student already. Not so much when it comes to English. I want to say thank you for all your hard work and creating such a safe, loving space for all of us. I really appreciate what you did for us. And finally, congratulations, class of 2020, we made it.
Thank you, Cheryl. Now for our final graduate speech. She joined us in fall of our senior year, but she has made an impact. She is a huge member of our community. The sound, Cassie, that I have chosen for you is the sound "na." And part of the reason I love this sound so much for you is, it makes me giggle, is the indication is that all? Is that it? But I've got that already. Which is the joy that Cassie has brought to us. She has bravely stepped into everything that we've asked at school. So for you, Cassie, let's give a warm welcome to Cassie. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Cassie. And first off, I would like to start off by saying I'm sorry to a couple of people, which is a little bit of a different start. But first off, I want to say I'm sorry to the people who were forced to clean out my many lockers that I left behind at school. I'm sorry about that. I'll pick up the stuff soon. And then next, I would like to say I'm sorry to Pete, who I'm pretty sure had to clean up some of the weird stuff that I buried around school. It was brought to my attention the other day that part of a dead bird that I buried was gone. And so I'm sorry that you had to clean that up. But yeah, all right, I'll get started now. Waldorf is many things. It is a school. It is an institution. It's also a cult. And while I may not have understood most or a large majority of what has happened this past year or this past 9 months for me at this strange land, I do understand the love and the patience that has been shown to me and that I've received from staff and parents and students alike. Whether I'm asking a certain special lady if I am allowed to leave the school while school is still in session to go grab food from the store down the street because I was hungry and I had some time to kill. And I ended up finding myself with a freshly made bowl of pasta that I got in trouble for and had the school sent out to search for me because they couldn't find me because I was eating the bowl of pasta for the rest of the day, which was strange. Or the time that I ended up going shoeless because I threw my shoes into a tree and I couldn't get them out. So that was weird. Or that other time that I accidentally sort of stole a rat from the school. I'm sorry, Miss Morales. I didn't realize that you needed that for class. Um, but yeah, there's that. And then there's the other couple times that I definitely put some pressure on the school's no-fail policy. Thank you, calculus, for that. I appreciate that. And I appreciate how the school's faculty and staff tried their best to gently push me while not really knowing what to do when I questioned some of the rules that they either had or didn't have. And I also want to say thank you to all of the teachers that I've had, whether or not they were actually my teachers or not. Big shout out to Miss Boynton, whose class I interrupted when my math class had some free time. So I went in and joined their class, and she ended up printing me out some worksheets and a test, which I appreciated, even if I didn't know what to do. And in addition to my classmates and my parents, who know that I appreciate them, I would like to say a special thank you and how do you do to some other people who might not know that I appreciate them or how deeply that I do appreciate them. So first off, I would like to say thank you to Sheila and David, who have shown me an unconventionally large amount of love in such a short amount of time. You guys are unique. You guys are special. There's not too many words, but you guys are definitely an interesting family that I'm very and I'm very I'm gonna skip over that. Yeah. Okay, so next up I would like to thank Laura, who has made me some of the best soup. Where are you? Some of the best soup that I've ever had just because I asked for it. One time I called her and I said, hey, I want some gazpacho soup. Could you make me some? And she said, sure. And I ended up going home with a big old tub of soup that I ate almost exclusively for the next couple of days. And I appreciate that. And next I would like to thank Liza, who made sure that I got a pair of athletics pants simply because I did not like the shorts. So she decided that she would take it upon herself to make sure that I got a pair of sweats, which I appreciated very deeply. Next, I would like to appreciate Kim, who welcomed me into her home. And I'm very grateful for that because you showed me a lot of love, and there are some weird people out there, so you're lucky that it wasn't me who turned out to be one of those people. And I just want to say thank you to all the people who welcomed me into their homes, into their families, how strange or not they may be. And thank you for welcoming me into your school. And so I finalized this speech by saying Waldorf is many things. It is a school, it is an institution, it is a cult, and I suppose now it's a new chapter of my life as well. And, well, I thank you.
Thank you, Cassie. At this time now, we will be having the presentation of diplomas. Now, parents, don't fret. Madam Womble and Miss Walker will be helping take pictures for those things so that we can abide by our graduation etiquette. As what the students have chosen during this time is that we shall be bowing instead of shaking hands, and they will be receiving their diplomas from the table from Miss Davis and myself. So at this time, I would like to invite up Andrea Vega Marshall. Tallulah Keenan Lee. Nicholas Vladimir Morales. Madeline Leslie Scarafone. Daichi Evan Caverly. I want to take a moment to acknowledge our dear Tony Siru New. Taylor Ray Ferraro Sampson. Lulu Jane Garchinsky. Marin Elizabeth Twite Hull. Are they off? Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Magnolia Sage Wilcox. McKenna Josephine Mobley. Kennedy Hope Galvin. Daniel Grant Gutowski. Sapar Shayanuv. Qian Liu. Cassandra Preeb. At this time, I'd like to invite all graduates up to the pavement.
Okay, you guys ready for this? Yeah? I don't know that I'm ready for this. All right. Under the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I hereby declare the class of 2020 to be graduates of the Waldorf School of San Diego. Class of 2020, you may now move your tassels from the right to the left.